And welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And folks, we got a great show today. We got an excellent discussion that we're going to have. We're going to discuss the verdict of Karmello Anthony, who was found guilty of murder down in Texas. We're going to talk about Rick Chow, the store owner who shot a young man in the back running away from the store. So if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in. And welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And first, let me give all praises to Yahuwah and Yahusha. That's God and Christ in Hebrew. Well, about a year ago, folks, to the American people and patriots across this country, the verdict of Karmello Anthony comes down, and a lot of people, especially those in the Black community, are shocked because they thought that he had a good self-defense case. But as I spoke last night on the show, you don't know what the truth is until all the facts come out. Now, in this case, they're going to cry and say that there were no Black jurors. And I would agree. I agree that if you're going to be tried by a jury of your own peers, that means that there should have been eligible Black people that was on this jury. So for me, the lawyer didn't do his job for Mr. Anthony, because I would have made sure that would at least been some type of minority jurors on this panel, but it didn't happen that way. So it sets it up for an appeal. But the most sad thing of it is that it only goes to show you how this system operates. Now, as I dived into this case, there was a lot of things that happened that we don't know about in this case. So I tell people, let us not be ready to rush to judgment on a black and white issue when all the facts are not out. But the facts are out now, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Let me get my team in, and we're going to discuss the Karmello Anthony case. Hey, Doc, how's it going?
Hey.
What Bink at? What's up, Mr. Binky? What's going on? Guys, listen. The Karmello Anthony case, we did a show last year about it when it first came out. And at the same time, I kept saying to myself, we don't know what happened. And for me, this is the distraction to the American people and patriots across this country. This is a distraction from the elections that we see that have gone awry in California. See, the election process has been skewed so badly. Now that the Democrats are out in the open, now we can see how they stole election in 2020 with the ballot harvesting. What are your thoughts on that, Doc? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's really bad in California. Hi, everybody. So they have a measure, or it's a bill. It's called SB 73, where you, as a citizen, you cannot question the signature validity of the electoral process. You can't question it. So if I was a citizen in Los Angeles, I'd be like, hey, I don't think things are going right. I think you guys should do something different. You can't do that. There's a law, literally a law saying you can't do that. I'm like, really? They can do all kinds of ballot harvesting. But here is the kicker. You've got Steve Hilton, who's running for governor. He's in second place. They completely gave all of the votes that came in to Nithya Raman, all of the votes. Like they could have at least cheated correctly, because had they done that, there should be 2 Democrats in the governor position and 2 Democrats in the mayoral position. How do you come back and you're at 20% and you get to 40%? You bypass the incumbent mayor? Like, none of it makes sense. Like, at least cheat right.
Your thoughts, Big?
Well, Doc, you just said that they can't question whether that signature is valid or not.
Yeah.
So are we not living in a society of reality? I mean, you can't go to the bank and not have, you can't do nothing without having stuff validated. But now we're coming to a vote and you can't question that. So
no. And there's no ID requirement either, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why it's taking so long, is because they're having most of their ballots are mail-in now, ain't they?
Yes, they are mail-in. And the way they verify the signature is based on when people register to vote. So once you register, obviously you sign your name. So when they do the mail-in ballots, that's how they're verifying the signatures. But see, the other thing that they're not talking about is an expose that was done by James O'Keefe, where they saw people paying homeless people to register on behalf of other people. It's all been exposed in Los Angeles. So there's just all kind of criminal activity going on. I'm like, they are a failed state.
Well, you know what? Every state that's blue is a failed state. Because here in the state of Illinois, it's the same way. They're using the same tactics. That's why J.B. Pritzker fought like hell, just gave $2.5 billion to illegals to live in the state of Illinois. I mean, Brandon Johnson the same way. And this is why I say the black community, I don't know, Trump disarrangement syndrome is for real. It really is for real. Because I don't see how any black person that has common sense to see all of these atrocities and the lying, the cheating, the ballot harvesting, all of these things are just put right in front of our face. They're not hiding it anymore. And the Democratic Party has been using this tactic for years on top of years. And yet I don't see how black people still stand up and defend them and keep talking about a legal election system that worked without corruption. I just don't understand us. And man, it's totally ridiculous. And the reason why I'm saying that is because now, guys, Friday, I was right before the game, I was watching. I went on the Larry Elder show. Hey, Mr. Elder, what's up? You know I was going to bust you out for what you did. So I'm sitting there flipping the channel. So I see Larry Elder. I've known Larry Elder for some years. I know him when he was in Chicago doing some things and so forth. So I'm listening to him talk about the shooting of the young man down in South Carolina. I think his name was Brackett. We're going to talk about that in the second show. But anyway, I'm sitting there listening to him. Now, this store owner accused him of stealing water, which he didn't. And then got into a fracas with him. He leaves and then chased the boy out the shore and chased him 130 yards and shot him in the back down like a dog.
Yes.
Now, he went to court and he was found innocent. And it was 5 black jurors on there. So that's what we're going to talk about on the second half of the show. But let's talk about this Karmello Anthony thing. This whole thing, for me, is in a place to where the facts aren't out. But let me play this clip, guys, and we'll get started and we'll discuss this.
Anthony Karmello found guilty of murder. So we're reporting that live here again. Anthony Karmello has been found guilty of killing a fellow teen at a track meet last year, stabbing him in the chest after he was allegedly shoved by the fellow athlete. And again, that breaking right now.
Yeah, they got into an altercation under a tent. It reportedly started to rain, and it was Austin Metcalf. He's the victim. It was his team's tent. Anthony comes in, and then the altercation happens. He is guilty. Doug Burns, Dante Mills with us on set to break this down. They only deliberated for a couple hours. Dante, your initial reaction to this?
This is consistent with what I thought when we saw that it was a 3-hour deliberation. I assumed that they went in there and everybody was on the same.
News here. The verdict is in. Anthony Karmello found guilty of murder. So we're reporting that live here again. Anthony Karmello has been found guilty of killing a fellow teen at a track meet last year, stabbing him in the chest after he was allegedly shoved by the fellow athlete. And again.
Now, Doc, your thoughts on that?
Well, again, we don't have all the evidence. We have conjecture and assumption and hearsay. That's it. That's all we have. Why? Okay, so he's not a coach. So why are you approaching another athlete to leave the tent? That's an adult responsibility. That's not your responsibility, right? There have been other people to say that it wasn't a coach that, said it was okay to come under the tent. It was actually another member of the opposing team, which would have been on Metcalf's team, right? That kind of looked at Metcalf like, Karmello Anthony, like, come under the tent, get out of the rain for at least a brief moment until this passes. That was it. He wasn't under there trying to cause any trouble. He wasn't under there trying to mess with anybody. He was just trying to get out of the rain. Like, so is it a crime to get out of the rain? And then you approach him. You're 190 pounds. This person is 135 pounds. That's not a fair fight. I don't care who you are, right? And so Karmello thought he had to defend himself, but there were things that came out. He says, if you touch me, you'll have to see what happens. Did they meet before? Did they know each other? There's rumors. Like I said, there's so many things that are said, but because they are minors, even though he was tried as an adult, because it happened while they were under the age of 18, there's still going to be evidence that has to be sealed because they're minors. Okay. And there were other minors involved. Yeah. There's this stuff that is not going to come out for a long time.
It's coming out slowly because, even if he was under the tent, it shouldn't have made a difference. And if you've already had beef with somebody, I think for me, I would have found me another place to get shelter. I don't care how bad it was raining, because if you got this kind of tension, that something could possibly happen. Because if I'm carrying a weapon, I'm going to make sure I'm not around the person that I'm carrying a weapon to protect myself from. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And secondly,
and was it a knife? We don't know. Some people say it was a cleat,
screwdriver, kind of.
And I've had those, so I know they are very sharp. You can cut yourself with it if you don't use it properly. So because I used to run track, so I know. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's really crazy.
Your thoughts, Ming?
Well, I hadn't seen a whole lot about it. I mean, what you hear, I just look at it. Maybe it's wrong, but you got being in high school at one point years ago. You've got one team versus another. The camaraderie. The hormones of young athletes, young people.
Yes.
The black and white issue. Why do you have a knife, or why did you have it available to put? What happened to fisticuff? Yeah, there's just so much there to try and I can't really say a whole heck of a lot other than somebody died out of the deal, and somebody
they both died.
You
go into prison, your life ends right there.
Well, somebody died, and me being old, it was fisticuff. I mean, I was always a little guy, and I always got picked on by the bigger guy. I still defended myself. I still stood up for myself. Um,
Yeah, get the old baseball bat and crack him across the leg, okay? You know.
I mean, I never, no matter how mad I got, I never wanted to kill anybody. You know,
Right, because you respected human life.
You know.
Yeah, there's no respect for human life anymore. And that's what I was going to say, guys, because check this out. The school needs to be sued. And I will tell you why. They didn't do their job because they knew this situation was going on. See, this is why I say that to the American people and patriots across this country, I'm glad Donald Trump got rid of the Board of Education, because we got all of these teachers now who are supposed to have parental rights of your kids while they're in school, because they got it here in Illinois. But yet, you don't know if what your kid is going through, supposedly, and you allow this to escalate. This has been brought to the school, the principal, about this situation before it got off to the where it's at. And so the school should have intervened and brought these parents together to settle the mess. Because I remember growing up, if I had a beef with somebody and it got beyond to the point where we was about to harm each other, then the school stepped in and got both of the parents together and resolved it.
But they were a mediator.
They did.
Yeah. But we don't have that no more because the teachers don't give a damn, and half of the teachers are not qualified to even be teaching children. They're not teaching them about academics, but they're teaching them about homosexuality and social life and how to take team takeovers. That's what our children are learning in school today. And so they're not learning about humility and conflict resolution. And maybe we should sit down and talk. None of that's being taught today. And some of it, most of it should be taught at home, but it's not. I got this clip on after what happened, man, and I'm gonna put some of the charges up, but I don't know how they find these people, but they do.
Courtroom. My next guest has been with us every day of this case. It's criminal defense attorney Todd Shapiro with us here in Dallas. Todd, it's good to see you. Thanks for being with us here today. 3 hours of deliberation, guilty verdict, murder, Karmello Anthony. Your thoughts?
I think we all saw this coming from a mile away, Will. I think anybody that has been following this case from the inception, when it happened, through jury selection, opening statements, and the testimony that was provided in the evidence, only lent itself to one decision, and that is a guilty verdict. I believe that justice was served in Collin County, Texas. I am proud to be from Collin County, Texas, because I think that justice is at a premium in our community, and so I believe that this jury did the right thing.
Let's talk about what happens now, and is happening right now, and that is the sentencing phase of this trial has begun, and it's the very same jury seated now listening to testimony, as we learned, from Karmello Anthony's mother. It appears at this point, she is the only one that has been called to testify on behalf of Karmello Anthony when pleading with the jury to take some leniency in his potential sentence, which we should note could cover anything from 5 to 99 years.
So we're hearing the same thing. That is it potential that Karmello's mom is the only witness? Is that the strategy from the defense, that they want her testimony and her pain and angst and anguish over her son to be the overriding feeling for the jury to determine, or are they going to bring a host of character witnesses? I would be shocked if she's the only witness. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't lend itself to any sympathy for Karmello. If they're trying to get him the least amount of sentence, I would probably bring every person that he's ever known that likes him, family member, friend, coaches, girlfriends, whoever, to say anything good about him that would somehow try to mitigate or take away from what he has done.
So there's no bias.
Okay. Murder in Texas, not capital murder, but
Okay, guys, let's talk about that. He is so right now. This is why I say that the lawyer they had must not have been a real lawyer, because I wouldn't have accepted sentencing right after the trial. I would have said, hey, wait a minute, let's put all these people together so that at the sentencing hearing, they could testify just like he said on their behalf. Your thoughts on that, Bink, what you heard?
Well, I think what's going to happen, even though they found him guilty of murder, they're probably going to give him probably a 5-year sentence, just because it was considered murder. I mean, somebody died. Let's put it that way. You brought up another case about a store owner shooting a guy in the back and getting off. Well, when you're running away from something, your life ain't in threat.
Exactly.
I don't know how a jury did not put that into the conclusion, because the guy was running away. The guy shot still. His life was not at threat.
Right.
A bottle of water isn't worth, I mean, look at these two cases here.
But this is what I was explaining to Larry Elder on Friday night. He told me that he thinks that the system is fair. He thinks that the justice system doesn't need to be changed. It's perfect the way serious. This is what he's thinking. It's perfect the way it is. So when I said, well, what is it? I said, what is it? So President Trump should be locked up put under the jail after 34 felony counts. And then he went to telling me about, oh, you're talking about the president. I said, no, we're talking about a system that's corrupt for black people.
Yes.
The 94 crime bill explicitly have been deemed unconstitutional because of the way the law was written. You saw FBI agents and police officers. They had a clause into there to where if you seize drug dealers' money and you seize their houses and cars, that the police officers could keep it.
Yeah.
See, so all of that stuff was put into this crime bill, and it made black men and black women a commodity because prisons are private, just like on the NASDAQ. So what Larry Elder was saying, I had to call into the show, and my point is being made that if President Trump got charged with 34 felonies, and if he was a black man charged with 34 felonies, what would he be at, Doc? Where do you think he'd be at right now?
He wouldn't be in the White House. He'd be in the big house, but not the White House. Let's just be real. But there are Caucasian people as well that have been, in my opinion, railroaded by this system.
Yes.
In a way that is extremely nefarious, because see, we have judges to the point where a judge escorted an illegal alien through her courtroom and tried to help them escape ICE agents that were there to detain him because he had direct deportation orders. What is going on in the justice system? We have activists as judges.
And that's what I tried to explain to Mr. Elder, but the first time he cut me off, but then I waited and called back and we had a good discussion. And I made sure that he understood that in this system, in the American system, the black man is always going to be targeted. He's going to go into court with any kind of felony charges, and 90% of the time, he's going to come out convicted on one of them, some kind of way. Some deal's going to be made. And I mean, I've been in the prison systems watching brothers be sentenced, and they get twice the sentence of somebody else who have committed the same crime.
And you want to know why that is? There is a Senate bill. It's called Senate Bill 9, and it was not passed by the 39th Congress. It was only read on the floor, so it's not law. It should be. But in there, it actually states that you cannot harm an emancipated slave. So had that bill passed, we wouldn't have redlining. We would have never had Jim Crow. All of the legal system would be fair and equal, because what that piece of legislation did is it wrote us into the Constitution and said that all men are created equal, but they didn't pass it. They only read it. So if anybody wants to know why this stuff keeps happening, because that piece of legislation sits on the books, but it was never put into law.
Well, here's some react. Go ahead, Mr. Binky.
Why do we have to have a law for something that we all know is bad?
Yes.
See, what happens is government decides they want to come in. You got to remember this part of it, man. It got pounded in my head. Whatever government creates, it controls.
Yes.
Okay. So common sense, the law, natural law, God's law. It all tells us what's right and what's wrong. We don't need government to come in there and put a 250-page bill up to describe, define, and conclude how they can fix a problem that they've probably created.
Well, they did. With civil rights, they created a permanent underclass because it never should have been. Once the Emancipation Proclamation was done, it should have been done. It was like the slaves are freed, they fall under the Constitution, All men are created equal. We are done. But they didn't do that. They put in a Civil Rights Act and they created a permanent underclass of people because now they have to say, well, you guys have civil rights. So you
Right.
have the right to be here. You have the right to function in this country, but you don't fall under the First Amendment like everybody else. And
Exactly.
nobody wants to really talk about that. And now those are facts. And I hear what you're saying, Mr. Binky, but this was done obviously before we were around, but it has to be addressed.
But you know what? What gets me the most is, see, to Black America, and I'm going to say this, and I want people to really pay a close attention to what I'm saying. Why is it that we have all these Black political leaders in Chicago? See, why is it in New York and why is it in California? You have all these Black political leaders. You would think that in a situation just like this, why we haven't heard nothing about Karmello Anthony. Have you? You ain't heard nothing about no rioting and none of that. See, that's because it only goes to show you how important it is when the situations like this happen and organizations like Black Lives Matter and the colleges. See, the real problem the Black community have is our leadership. As long as we got guys with these, I call them educated fools. They're sitting around and they're so scared. It's just like the house Negro and the field Negro. We got all these educated people in political positions, and they're helping this government and the Democratic Party steal and destroy the Black community. So when you make a deal with the devil, don't you think that he is going to turn on you? So to all you educated Negroes running around here talking about Kappa rap and all this, all of y'all sitting in these positions of political astute, to the pastors who are doing the same thing, who call themselves Greeks, preaching the word of God, which is illegally. This is what you're going to see in the future. You're going to continue to see the Karmello Anthonys. You're going to continue to see the killings down in South Carolina because you won't step up to the plate to support the Black community the right way. Because you don't have the passion, nor do you love the legacy of Black people, because just like the politicians of old days, when Al Sharpton used to be making noise and doing stuff, it would be everywhere. Black people would have descended in Texas. They would have gotten together just like down in South Carolina. But you know why we don't? Because the Black leadership will not stand up for the Black community.
Well, my whole thing is going outside doesn't work anymore. You can go outside, but if you do not do anything, to your point, Pastor, after that, why are we outside? I don't want to go outside. You know what I want in South Carolina? I want every business license that family had that did this to this young man revoked. I want them removed from the state. You can't do business here.
Exactly.
Because obviously you don't respect human life here. No, I'm going to hit you in your pocketbook economically. That's what I want.
Well,
and we need better supervision, to your point, of these young individuals in school so we don't see another Karmello Anthony incident again, because obviously you've lost your way, administrators that are in these high schools with these delicate lives of these young people that are going to be our next leader. This is important.
Well, the thing of it is that, like I said, the school system is inundated with DEI people who are not even qualified to be teaching, but especially in the Black community, because they're getting their students' loan paid by going in and having to fight with these Negroes, and they try to educate them, and at the same time getting six-figure salaries to really do nothing. This is some of the reactions after the verdict.
How do you know that?
He broke down. She was in there with him.
Hold on one second.
Be on camera. She broke down and cried.
So explain to me what the
when
woman
they came back with the verdict, he broke down and he cried. Somber. That family nurse not good. That boy's not good. You been in there. I done talked to you before. You been in there. That boy smiled. That boy broke down and cried. They done fucked up the rest of this boy's life.
when you're out here and you see all these people, you've been here every day, I know. When you hear that verdict read, I saw you break down to the ground. What's going through your heart? What's going through your head right now?
Why do we have to care anymore? Why are we even here? To be honest, why are we here? What are we here for? Because if we take up for ourselves, we go to jail. If we don't, we die. So it's a catch-22 in this situation. What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
Let me ask you this. Right now, I hear the frustration. Are you more angry or more sad as to what just happened?
I'm angry and I'm hurt. I'm angry because you were in there, I was in there too. Those witnesses were lying on him. You got the judge friends with the prosecutor. Let's start there. The judge was falling asleep. Some juries was falling asleep and didn't even have a damn notepad. Y'all didn't take this shit seriously.
All right, Austin, come this way because it looks like the crowd is moving, and we're just gonna.
All right, your thought, Doc.
Wow. Well, I mean, he needs better representation and he needs a change of venue, in my opinion. That should have been the first thing. And I would personally, and this is me, had I been his attorney, I would have actually tried to do a plea deal of 20 years. He would have gotten 10. Because here's the deal. With the situation the way it is, again, they're minors. He is being tried as an adult. Because you cannot release a lot of that information, I would have at least tried a plea deal to lessen the sentencing, but to actually let it be severe enough to where, okay, a lesson's going to be learned. But now he's going to lose 17 years of his life when he could have possibly lost 10. Now, if they do an appeal, he could get more time. So now you're gambling.
Well, in the appeal, if it should be, your thoughts on it, Becky? Go ahead. I know you want to get in on that.
Well, like I said, listening to her, I'm sorry. Somebody died out of this. I don't know what you expect.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the kid is totally guilty. He knew what he was doing. He planned all. I can't say none of that stuff, and I'm not going to. But if it would have been her son that was killed, how would she act then? I mean, what are you going to tell your 5 kids? Look, there's reality here. Somebody lost their life. Somebody took a life. Right. That's what she needs to work on as a parent, is weigh all this together and teach your kid properly. Because you're mad doesn't mean you can kill somebody.
Well, here's the deal. And this is the reality that some people don't deal with. So when my husband leaves the house, I pray for my husband that somebody doesn't stop him or assume that he's somebody else so that he comes back home. I pray that a police officer doesn't pull him over, and if he reaches down, assumes that he's going to reach down for a gun and shoots him. But that's the reality that I live with, because that's how people have been conditioned to deal with Black men. So the realities are different. When a young Caucasian male walks out of the house, it's like, oh, you're going to be fine, because I know the society is going to protect you. We don't have that same vantage point because that has not been our reality. The realities are different. Yes, she's going to be overly protective of her children in all those aspects because she does want them to come home. She does want to see her kids be alive. I'm sorry that Metcalf lost his life. Nobody should lose their life at 17 at a track meet.
But really? You know what I saw, and I'm going to tell you what I saw. I didn't see no Black men.
No.
I didn't see no Black men. I didn't see, and see, that's why I say our communities have been made dysfunctional, because now you would think you had one Black man talking about Trayvon Martin. We ain't talking about Trayvon Martin. We talking about Karmello Anthony, who now is going to do 35 years in prison. We're talking about a legal system where he needed to bring all these people, but he didn't. So it's his lawyers. The lawyer who were representing him did not give a good defense for him or information. advised him on what needed to happen. So I think going forward in the appeal, they're going to need somebody else. But at the same time, you still locked up for 35 years and you still have a charge, and there's no guarantee that the appeal is going to free you.
No, and there's no guarantee that you would only do 17 and a half years. That's an assumption that he
Man,
gets paroled at that time. We don't know. He could go into that prison and die the next day. We don't know.
yes, he's a
There's
kid.
so much uncertainty, a lot of it. And those prisons are violent. They're not made for rehabilitation the way
No,
they should
not
be.
anymore. The way, and I said that on Larry's show. I mean, prisons used to rehabilitate. They allowed college. They allowed all sorts of training, and that's happening. That's not happening anymore. You're gonna go in and you're gonna survive your time and get out and hope that you get your
Hopefully.
head together. That you know that you don't come back to that. But the point that I'm making is this: she said something to me, and the first thing that thought popped into my head. She said she got 5 sons.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many baby daddies.
Right? And that shouldn't be. But again, where's the dad?
And where's the
You're
father?
there. Where's
Yeah,
the dad?
exactly. You know what I'm saying? And so that only goes to show us just how bad the family structure in the black community has been destroyed. Because like I said, back in the day, she would have never been at the microphone, but it would have been men in the community talking about
Right.
this situation. Instead, we got our sisters out here on the front line, and that's because the black man is no longer prevalent in the family like it should be. The black
Yeah.
structure is gone because we've been diluted with all sorts of other things, homosexuality, single motherhood, raising men. There's so many things that have happened in the black community. You took all the brothers off the street, the ones that were teaching these young boys something. You made gangbangers out of them and all this and that. And now they have no fathers to help them understand how to become a man.
Yeah. And this
That's
situation with Carmelo Anthony and unfortunately the unaliving of Metcalf, this needs to make us become better as a society. We've already failed. We
yes.
cannot continue to fail these young people. We can't. They have to have a society that they can grow up and live in a society that won't be perfect, but they'll at least understand humanity exists and you need to do better than we've done.
Well,
Instead of getting angry and devolving into more chaos. Does that make sense?
it does, and the reason why I'm glad you said that, Doc, because our young men, the ones that are being grown up now, they don't understand the system. They have not been taught how to be a man. They have not been taught to be responsible. You got to take care of the mess you make. They haven't been taught conflict resolution. None of these things are prevalent in the black community because the men are not teaching the young boys how to be men. So this has been one of the ways that this government and society has weakened the black family, because now you have no strong black fathers who are in these households teaching young men on the responsibilities of growing up. And so now you got all of these kids, but Karmello has no excuse because he got a mom and a dad in the house. So he should have been taught something about having to deal with situations, because I was. Binky was. Your thoughts, Bink?
Yeah, like I said, I was small when I grew up. Through grade school, mid school, even high school. I went to my school reunion here a couple years ago, and nobody recognized me because I was small, and then all of a sudden I grew.
Yeah.
But I used to have. I had one guy. I was in the Civil Air Patrol for a while. Bob Crank was his name. He loved to bully me. He used to take my arm and crank it behind my back, and he always said, "You say uncle, say uncle, say uncle," and I never did do it. Not once, not ever did I cry uncle just to satisfy his being a bully. So I mean, as you said, the system, whether it's at the system at home or our government system, are failing these kids. you know, and you see them all the time. What's Chicago got a problem with now? All these kids,
The teen takeovers.
Takeovers, all that, man.
So, I mean, you know, as we're losing jobs, it takes an opportunity for a kid to learn a responsibility, a job, learn what money's about, how to support yourself. You know, that's one of our problems that we got. The other one is you brought up about schools. Where did parents lose their rights over something that's belongs to them?
Policies.
Yeah, schools belong to the people.
Right.
The schools belong to the parents. Where did the parents lose all their rights and say so?
Policies.
But it was different policies that was created, especially here in Illinois, under the law SB 818. SB 818. Yeah, I think that's it. But anyway, you look it up, and it's in those laws that allow the teachers to become surrogate parents to the children
once they walk through that threshold.
Yes, and so these are the things that happen, like in the state of Illinois, and during COVID, they crafted all of these laws to protect themselves and justify the curriculum that they was going to teach your kid without you even approving it.
Right.
Or they slipped it in when you signed the kid's paperwork that you didn't pay attention to read the fine print that you were signing away your parental rights away. So there's a lot of tricks that have been used to really separate the children from their parents in order for them to even implement the homosexuality stuff that they did to force our children to make it a normal situation in their lives. Listen to this stuff, guys.
This is a war, and it's been going on. This war been going on.
Did you know we were in a war? Well, outside the courtroom, Karmello Anthony supporters were, well, supporting, I guess. Nick Sorter captured some incredible footage of what went down. Tensions were high and supporters were firm in ignoring the basic facts of the case and reported testimony to insist it was self-defense.
You need to be ashamed. You need to be ashamed. Because that's one of y'all that was in there. But you're not going to give a fuck just at your front door.
But when the guilty verdict came in, the meltdown became more severe.
Damn! They saying guilty of murder on Fox right now. They saying guilty of murder.
I swear to God, I'm sick of this shit, Daddy. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired. That is sick. Put that motherfucking baby out.
This is a racist ass country. We're in a racist ass state. This is a racist ass court. There ain't nothing else to talk about. When there's a white boy been for all black jury. Never.
Fuck white lives. How about that? How about that?
Anytime a white man or a white child can go and put their hands aggressively on anybody and something like this occur, it's self-defense. You put your hand on me and see how I respond. Beat your motherfucking ass.
What will the Anthony family do?
What will the Anthony family? What will the people that's standing behind the Anthony family do? That's the question you should ask. We're going to stand behind them and we're going to fight. That's what's going to happen.
What is your relationship with kids?
I have no relationship. We black. We're brothers. We're black. We're brothers and sisters. We're blacks. We're the indigenous people of this earth. So then why are we fighting each other?
I'm on your side. I want Karmello free, not locked up. So why am I sitting here fighting you? Why is another black man arguing with a black woman?
They should have both been arrested.
They should both should have been dead. The both brothers. Both of them should have been dead. You ask me? Black kings and queens, we gotta stick together. This makes no goddamn sense. Y'all don't see what's going on? Just like they doing this to Karmello, guess what? It could be your child, little kids out here, it could be you.
You got 35.
35 years. Self-defense. If he was white, we wouldn't even be here today. It would have never come to court.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm.
All right, Doc, let me say this. Throughout this entire video, where were the black men? What were the black men at?
There was one. There was like the one guy who was saying, you know, I want to see him out of prison. Like that was it. There was like all 6 of them, you know,
But everything that was there was nothing but black women.
But that's the narrative that is supposed to be out there. You gotta remember, the narrative has been that way for a long time. Who breastfed these babies?
Single black women. Yep.
Okay. It has always been us, black women, thrown into the seat of the leader when we're not. I'm just saying, this is historic. I'm not making it up. I wish I was. So all the news is going to do is continue to perpetuate the same thing. But to your point, where there were men there, but where were the men actually standing up? And I don't want to say too much too little too late, but this is the moment where we need to be committed to doing better. The energy, great. Where is it going?
Well, you know, this is the reason why I say that there is no unity in the black community, because you would think all of these educated Negroes, the educated Negroes should be standing up saying this is wrong. We need to galvanize our community. We need to galvanize our community. And you hear crickets from them. You hear crickets from the legislators and all of those.
Crime pays. Being a good steward doesn't. Let's be honest. They're not going to give you any money for being a good steward. They're going to give you money for, you know, making sure crime is low, right? But you're going to make sure like the
LGBT groups
go on.
But you know what? Go ahead, Big. Say something. Let's get Big involved. What you think down there, Mr. Biggie?
Again, all I seen was people out there putting on a show.
Yes.
And getting put on the media.
Yep.
And not as Dr. Dr. Nichols said, we've got to be accountable for ourselves. We've got NAACP, Al Sharpton, all these guys.
Where they at?
They're making money. You know, they can't make money on this.
But they supposed. Wait a minute now. Where is Al Sharpton at? Al Sharpton.
He's hiding.
Al Sharpton, he's supposed to speak for black people. This is why I'm telling black people, how can you continue to allow
these so-called leaders? He would have gotten run down and run out of town.
So another thing, when I was having this argument with Larry Elder, he said, well, all the black preachers got together and they asked for help in the crime bill, and they wanted that bill brought to the black community because of the crack epidemic. I told Mr. Elders this: those were not men of God.
No.
See, men of God would have stood up and the crack epidemic would have went away, because we would have warned and started teaching our congregations, and we would have teaching our sisters how to avoid letting our kids come in contact with it. That's what pastors are supposed to do. So those wasn't real men of God, because real men of God like myself is going to figure out some type of solution or some kind of policy. Just like when I told you, Doc, I said, Doc, we need a solution for the crime bill. You put it all together with your team, and now we got a bill out there that can make people get out of these prisons. They can be made whole, and the black community that lacked the economic development because of all these black men being incarcerated could be made whole. Go ahead.
Pastor, you don't want to make money off of what you do?
No, for what?
You want to help people but not make money?
But here's the thing: if you help people, the money will come. But there's a difference. There's a difference between making sure that it's still perpetuated so you can make money. There's a difference.
I'm being sarcastic.
I know, and let me respond to that.
Yeah, see, all these guys, they're out to make money, not to do good.
Right. So check this out, right? To y'all pastors, I want y'all to listen to me right quick. Okay, when Christ sent out the disciples, they went out and he said, don't take nothing, because wherever that you go, you're going to have faith that God is going to take care of you. So all of y'all pastors out here living the life of love, y'all getting this money, y'all getting the cars, y'all getting the house, just like Drewski said, y'all making a fool out of God's people. Okay, for me, God blesses me for doing the right thing. Seek the kingdom and its righteousness first, and all will be added to you. Yes, I own all the same stuff. I got the house, the cars, I got it all. But you know what? I got it on my own pocket. I didn't have to trick nobody into giving me anything. I worked for everything that I had. I had a job. I've been a pastor for 6 years, but I've been had all of that stuff because God blessed me, because everything that I have done since I left corporate America to help Black people, I took money out of my own pocket and helped people got lawyers. I'm doing this because I love Black people, just like Mac. I love being Black, but I hate to see the way we are being destroyed because of the lack of knowledge. We don't have leaders like me that much anymore. I don't need no money, because when I die, I'm not going to take nothing with me. It's what I do on this earth to advance the Black community is my pay. So things like this, real men of God, they're not going to be begging for money, but you see it because the Black preachers have sold themselves for 30 pieces of silver and forgot about the authority that God gave us over this world to make sure that we keep things under control. And that's why I don't need no money. I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm mega rich because I have God in my life the right way, and my relationship allows me to stand and say what I'm saying. I don't worry. You can't take nothing from me. You can't affect my money. Y'all can't do nothing. And that's probably why I'm one of the most feared pastors in the country. You're not going to see me up on Sundays hooping and hollering and spitting. But what you're going to see me doing is asking for some legislation. Like I did with you, Doc. I'm trying to figure out solutions. That's where you're going to find pastors that trying to reach solutions, not just for the Black community, but for us as all Americans. The system needs to be brought
You would
back.
think, as long as Al Sharpton has been around, what piece of legislation has he actually drafted, right? Because he's got all the connections, or even gotten with Congress to say, hey, this would be a good piece of legislation to carry forward in the Black community. This could actually help heal the community. You're going to hear crickets, because that's not why he was elevated.
Well,
he was
you know what?
elevated to be there as a basically stepping
Well,
stone for Black America. He's a placeholder. He wasn't there to help.
Even Doc, when you wrote this thing, I reached out to some influential people. Miss Alice Johnson. We're going to do a documentary on her either next week sometime. But Miss Johnson, who spent 20 years in prison, she was a Democrat. Kwame Kilpatrick, who was the mayor of Detroit, they all were Democrats. He went to prison for over 30-some years, which I thought the sentencing was too harsh. But Barack Obama didn't give him a pardon. Miss Johnson, who went to prison for selling dope and being part of a super dope ring, and the Democratic Party never pardoned them. So to Black people who say that they hate President Trump, if President Trump was able to look at these cases and say that this is unfair and then free them out of prison and pardon them out of prison, then we really need to take a look at the Democratic Party and the leadership. And where I'm going is this. Now that Miss Johnson has been pardoned, she's just celebrated being 8 years out of prison. Brother Kilpatrick, Pastor Kilpatrick, is out. They're going around the country talking about their situation and how President Trump was the fireman that saved Kwame's house that he set on fire because he actually stole the money. Okay. Miss Johnson, who is now the pardon czar, is out of prison, but she hasn't created anything to help those who she left in the prisons. And I reached out for her so that they can get behind this crime bill. But the point that I'm making is it's a damn shame that we have all of these black people, politicians, people who used to be in prison, have gotten out, and they're not reaching back to help the same people that helped them while they was locked up. Guys, your thought on that while I cue this up.
Well, with Miss Johnson, here's my thing. It's a conflict of interest for her, and here's why. Because she is focused on pardons. This is a rescission bill. The only thing that she would be able to do is introduce us to a senator or member of the House that could help us with the bill to reverse it. You know what I'm saying? Like leverage a relationship.
Well,
and the same with Kwame Kilpatrick. It's a leveraging of a relationship. That's all we need.
Well,
and then we have to do the rest of the work.
This is the thing that I'm saying about those two supposedly black leaders about giving back to our community. Ms. Johnson could take a look at this bill and take it directly to President Trump. She could take it because of all the people, because we in this bill that you've written, all the people with the commutable assistance, the C numbers, all of these men and women who have been sitting in prison, who are supposed to be out, that the system have acknowledged that when you get this commutable number, that your sentence could be commutable, that means that they should be released. But they have not been released because the 94 crime bill is still being used to continue to hold black men and women in the prison system. And yet you don't see any of them. I mean, Ms. Johnson could take this and say, guess what, Mr. President, here's what we came up with, because on a one-to-one basis, it's difficult to try to take each individual case and let people out one-on-one.
Right.
But if
the legislation needs to be rescinded.
Right. This legislation need to be rescinded, and then you can look at the cases of the people after they've submitted their C numbers and make decisions on who should be pardoned. So it's just not a free get out of jail card. Those cases have to be examined. Her office can do that because she was once in the same position.
Okay, fair.
Kwame was in the same position. So their focus, one of their focus should be is how do we right the wrongs of people who was incarcerated just like me.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. And so to have people and black leaders in place that won't do something positive for the black community, because whatever agenda that you have, nothing should come before, especially after God bless you and gave mercy and grace to you, you should be trying to help those that's still locked up. Because my prison ministry is all over the country. I got mail, I got things coming in, people with C numbers. As a matter of fact, one of the ladies, Sarah Lynn Berry, who helped Miss Johnson get out of prison, called me and asked me to help her get out because Miss Johnson is not taking her calls and know her case and not trying to help her. So all the partying and stuff going on, you understand what I'm saying? So we're going to do a documentary on it. I got a lot of people.
Is it going to be kind of like the baker and the what was it, the chef? I'm really talking serious. In Joseph, and when he interpreted their dreams, and one of them was freed by Pharaoh, but the other one he was freed, but then he ended up being beheaded by Pharaoh.
Yes, and Joseph told the dream and became ruler of Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay. But the same thing, he still had compassion for his own brothers when they sold him into slavery, and then he loved them enough. That's what the problem is. We got leaders that don't love black people. They love what they can make off black people, but they don't love black people because just like Joseph, his brothers did what they did. Ain't no way it would be hard for me to not want revenge for what they did to him.
Right.
But yet he loved them so much that he forgave them and then made them prosperous and brought them to Egypt. So that's what our real problem is. We don't have black politicians or pastors like me who say, I ain't going to take your money, but I'm going to fight like hell to make sure you get justice.
Yeah.
That's what's missing in the black community. And people just want to do the right thing. Let me play this clip. Because, see, We talked about Karmello Anthony, but this is the flip side. Mr. Elder, this is the flip side for you. This young black man was killed because a Asian store owner in the black community. And yes, to the black community in Chicago, when I take over mayor in 2027, I'm going to request, and if they don't leave, everybody that is not a black business owner in Chicago won't be in the black community. Because we got Asians, we got Arabs, we got everybody in the corner store selling us stuff. We got Mexicans walking around in the black community with their taco trucks and all of that. But you don't see one black store owner in the black community. That shouldn't be.
Where their pocketbook? Come on now. That's where they make their money. But they don't put money back into that same community. Come on.
And that's why I say I'm not when I become the mayor, I'm not being racist or nothing. You can say whatever the hell you want to say. But in Inglewood, Auburn, Gresham, and all the rest of the black communities, I'm going to create entrepreneurship for black business owners, real black business owners, our children. Let them own the businesses and let them start building generational wealth. Let them reinvest into the black community. And that's why I say the black community needs to reinvest in its own self and get everybody out of our community so we can heal, have our own schools, and teach our children how to be good citizens in this society. And we need to fix the criminal justice system. Doc, what you think?
Yeah. It needs to happen. Mr. Binky, I don't want you left out of this conversation because we've just been rambling and playing ping pong back and forth. So I wanted to get Mr. Binky in here and get his thoughts on it.
Our system is screwed up. I mean, we're micromanaged by our own states, by our own government. Mm-hmm. We're being divided by our states, by our own government, federal government. It's just, Mr. Elder, respectfully saying here, our system is screwed and we've got to fix it. We've got to educate ourselves in order to fix it. And the black community, white community, whatever, we've got to be able to go back and be able to control what belongs to us.
Yes.
And that's the only way we're all going to heal. I mean, we worked it. We had bad people back in the day. We had bad people. I will not deny that. But we're beyond that now, and we're to the point now where we've got to be able to do our own decisions, make our own destinies, and decide for ourselves. And we can't do that today. We're just micromanaged by the state and federal governments.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really sad because now judges are more so activist.
Yeah.
As opposed to actually being judges and being fair. And you see it with immigration. You see it just with regular basic laws, right? I mean, we saw it happen to President Trump while he was a civilian, right? Going through all these court cases. They actually just recently found, I guess, communication with Alvin Bragg admitting that they were putting these cases in place just to delay the election because one guy admitted, he goes like, we do this in New York all the time. And I'm like, I know y'all do it all the time because I actually worked for a company that was like, okay, we need to make sure that our measurements are precise, that we're not counting the exterior of the building. We are only counting the livable space because they wanted to stay above board.
Yes.
Okay. But there are people that will artificially inflate their places and they know they're doing it. So it was bad when he did it, but it was okay when these other 3,000 people did it as well. I mean, come on.
Well, guys, I want to play this clip before we get out of here. Bink, here, check this out.
To begin with day 2 of the Rick Chow murder trial.
First thing on Friday morning, the prosecution is expected to rest its case in the murder trial of Rick Chow. He is accused of killing 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton at Chow's gas station in Columbia exactly 3 years ago today.
Hours ago, jurors heard from the person who performed the autopsy on the victim, and for the first time, the public got to see surveillance video which showed what happened inside the gas station that day. Our Kiki Gushu has a recap of today's key moments.
For the first time, jurors and the public got to see what took place inside the Shell gas station on Park Lane Road in the minutes before Cyrus Carmack-Belton was killed in May of 2023. The video shows Belton taking water bottles out of a cooler, then immediately putting them back in, as prosecutors have said he did all along. He can be heard being confronted by Rick Chow's wife and son about the water bottles and denying he took them. He's then pursued out of the store by Rick Chow and his son.
Of course he's gonna run. You're running after him.
Prosecutors argued the store's camera system provided more than enough information for law enforcement to identify Cyrus without anyone chasing him.
Investigator Jordan, do you think it would be, you would have some tools to work with if you had gotten a call that this guy, this boy right here, had stolen? Do you think you would have some tools to help identify him?
Yes.
And investigate whether or not he had stolen water?
Right.
Yes. Water.
Do you feel confident law enforcement could have handled this?
Yes.
Absolutely.
But the defense spent much of the afternoon focusing on Cyrus's actions that night.
So this young man went into the store with no money, an empty book bag, and a loaded firearm, and you're telling this jury there was nothing suspicious about that?
Well, we don't know they didn't have any money on him at all. There was no money found on him.
Jurors also heard from Dr. Amy Durso, the forensic pathologist who performed Cyrus's autopsy. She walked jurors through the bullet's path through his body, using x-rays and a courtroom demonstration to explain what positioning would be consistent with the trajectory she observed.
Do you expect this trajectory, would it be consistent with somebody running away in a runner's stance with their back directly towards you?
Yes. Prosecutors asked if it would have been possible for Cyrus to have been turned around pointing a weapon. She said no. The defense has claimed Cyrus pointed the gun at Chow and his son, and Rick fired in self-defense. Earlier, jurors heard more eyewitness testimony about the moments after Cyrus Carmack-Belton was shot. Jasmine Broadwater told jurors she was driving near the scene when she heard a gunshot and saw Cyrus on the ground.
My aunt said, Jazz, he just shot that boy. You need to call the police. We're both about to call them, so we both put our cell phones. We called. My aunt said, I just want to make sure we're seeing what we see, so we drove out real slow, and we still see Cyrus on the ground. Looked like he was trying to push himself up, like how somebody's doing push-ups, but they're shaking really bad.
Another witness, Devontae Bryant, described watching Cyrus run, stumble, and try to regain his balance as Rick Chow and his son followed behind him.
Right, so he maybe took a step or two. After that, then that's when the shot went off.
The defense got into a back and forth with that.
Your thoughts, Doc?
It's just tragic. You murdered this person. Because here is the, I won't say it's a universal code, but whenever there is theft or no theft, if someone leaves and they are facing away from you, if you engage them and harm them in any way, it is murder. It is not self-defense.
Murder, exactly.
Even if they robbed you. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He was murdered. There is no self-defense case here. The only default that I can think of is the collaborative story between the father and the son claiming over and over that they were defending themselves and they were in fear for their lives because this young man had a gun, which apparently he didn't have, and it was planted on him. Like, the whole thing stinks.
Yes, exactly.
Police, and they could have let the police handle it, but they didn't. So this is like vigilante time. And this is the unfortunate thing about the Asian community, because this has already been really at its height between the Black Americans and the Asian community. Here's my thing. They should no longer be allowed to do business in the state of South Carolina.
Or in the Black. That's the reason why I said when I take over as mayor of Chicago, everybody's going to get out the Black community. The Asians, the Arabs, all of them getting the F out of the Black community because they don't reinvest and they feel like they have a license to kill. If you come in and steal a bottle of water, I can kill you. He wouldn't have shot a white man like that. He wouldn't even chase the white man like that with no bottles of water. But our children are targets. by these people who are in our community, and they're killing them and getting away with it.
Yeah,
They
this
keep
is the first incident. There's another young lady that was shot in a store in California. She stole nothing. She went to the counter, and I guess the Asian lady thought she was being disrespectful. The Asian lady took out her gun and shot her.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It happened.
That's why, like I said, they got to go. Your thoughts, Bing?
Well, didn't it say in there that he took the bottled waters out but then put them back?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is, first of all, water. Second of all, there was no threat on that kid and his father that owned the store. There was no. The video showed just that. They showed them running out after him.
Yes.
And he's running away and he gets shot in the back. That's the failure of the jury. That's the failure of the legal system, Mr. Elder.
Yes.
Yes.
Completely.
And that's exactly what I was telling Larry Elder on his show. I'm saying these kind of cases like this shows you how bad it is for black men and women in this country when it comes to other people. See, other people like this Mr. Child, he has been told you can kill a nigga and get away with it.
Who?
Because it's been happening.
Because it's been happening all along. It's been happening for decades.
Specifically in the black community. That's what I'm telling you. This happens in LA every day. You just don't hear about it because you don't live there.
Tell them, they're nothing like animals. And if you shoot one of them, ain't nothing going to happen. But yet you want the black dollar to keep getting our money, but you want to kill our kids over a bottle of water? And now you would think that everybody, especially the black politicians, we should shut this country down over a bottle of water. And yet he had 5 black people on the jury, and they went along with the program. Okay, that's all that was.
There's your problem, the jury, David. The jury.
I know, but the instructions as well, they all tie in together. This is what law enforcement said about this case, and we're going to get out of here. I'll get your thoughts on this.
Senseless. It doesn't make sense.
Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott describing the murder of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton outside a Shell gas station on Park Lane Road Sunday night. The store's owner, Rick Chow, has been charged in the killing.
It's just sad. It's sad. If y'all would have seen that baby laying right there, that's all I can see. All I can see.
The owner suspected Cyrus of shoplifting inside the store, which RCSD has said did not happen.
Regardless, even if he had shoplifted 4 bottles of water, which is what he initially took out of the cooler and then he put them back, even if he'd done that, that's not something you shoot anybody over, much less a 14-year-old, but you just don't do that.
At one point, there was a verbal confrontation inside the store, but no indication that things turned physical. Cyrus was running away when he was shot. The coroner's office says he had 1 gunshot wound to the right lower back. Deputies recovered a gun believed to belong to the victim near his body. RCSD says there's no evidence he pointed it at or threatened Chow. One woman who saw the shooting happen and called 911 is calling for justice.
Do you even want to go in the store now? Because anything can happen now these days, and everybody's getting trigger happy. That young man didn't have to die like that, but for me to witness that yesterday, like, I'm in fear for my own brother. And for any of the kids that's in my neighborhood, because these kids, they come outside all the time. They come to the store all the time. Now it's like, now you got to watch your kids.
Okay, Dr.
There was another video that I came across where it was a convenience store, and they locked the children in the store while they were shopping because they were like, well, we don't want them stealing. It's like, what are you doing? It's to the point where it's like, okay, we're shutting it down. You're no longer going to get the money. And see, when people start economically suffering, are they going to be nicer to us? No, they're not. In my opinion, they just might become more violent. So my whole thing is know your community, know where you can and cannot shop, where you will and will not be safe. If people do not feel safe at this particular establishment, don't go. And it will shut down because they will not be able to survive economically. I'm just saying.
Your thoughts, Mink?
Well, if they're saying that gun possibly was his, but he didn't point it at him. I would say the kid, if that was his gun, he had every right to point the gun at the guy who was shooting at him, because they were chasing him.
Yes.
So now
They were pursuing.
He's got a right to defend himself.
Exactly. It makes no sense. But this is what gets people angry, Mr.
But
Belton.
how can, this is the thing that this is why I say the system is so screwed up, because the judge's instructions allowed for this man to get off, whatever those instructions were, because hold on, I got you, man. You can actually see, even when the sheriff said there's no way he should have shot this child over some water. There was no way this should have happened. And that's the reason why when I become the mayor of Chicago, all of these people who are in the black community, Inglewood, Auburn, Gresham, South Side, Western Side, y'all going out of business. I'm going to make sure that you are no longer in the black community because you feel that you can kill our kids and still have business. You know what the saddest thing was? You saw people going in and out of the store, still buying gas there, still spending money there, just like it hadn't happened. Your thoughts, Bink?
One thing I want to touch on something that you said. The judge's instructions. Wait a minute. What does a judge have to do or have authority to instruct a jury?
You want me to take this one?
Own decisions.
You want me to take this one?
Pardon me?
I was like, do you want me to answer this one?
Yeah, answer. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what happens when they give the jurors instructions. They can actually tell the jurors to eliminate certain parts of evidence that has been submitted, and they can direct them that you can only come to a decision unanimously on this particular set of evidence given. You could literally see somebody like being shot on camera, and they can say that's not admissible. In this particular case, we're only looking at this particular set in the case. And no, I'm just telling you right now, as a paralegal, as somebody that's trained, I am telling you now, this is how it goes down. This is how there are 34 counts against President Trump. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get.
I mean, can you understand now?
And I'm just saying, I'm just saying. How can the legal system that Mr. Elder says is perfect be so corrupt? And be lawfully corrupt?
Yes.
Does that make any sense? No, Mr. Elder.
Because it's generational. Again, like I was saying, we have an opportunity to do better going forward, right?
As long as we
have to make sure we do.
As long as we have leadership that's in the black community, the Maxine Waters, and we see all of these black leaders and pastors who won't say nothing, who will be afraid because they're taking money. They've been bought and paid for. As long as we have that type of leadership, all our educated men and women who are holding these positions, who call themselves Greek, and they're buying up property in the black community only to turn around and invest it to other places. The only way that these things are going to change is that we have to get rid of, first, the bad leadership. We have to get rid of the Al Sharptons. We got to get rid of the Jesse Jacksons and all the bullshit that they stand for, because these things should have been nipped in the bud a long time ago. But it has gotten worse in the black community because the NAACP won't stand up for this young man that's got shot, but they'll stand up for illegals. You know, the Urban League won't stand up and say it's wrong to put illegals and give them money and thousands and millions of dollars.
They support that.
But you won't even help the black community, but yet you infiltrate their community with foreigners who kill us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's what the shame in the black community, because we probably, you know, and I don't want to say it, I know nothing is impossible for our God. He can fix it. But we have to be willing to let him fix it, and we have to get out the way and let him do what needs to be done. And as long as the legacy black people, especially black men, we saw all these women at the Karmello Anthony thing, hooping and hollering and stuff. Where are they husbands? Where are they boyfriends? Where is the black man? Because as long as the black man is not in the black community, then our women and our children are going to suffer. Doc, your last words. So we got to get out of here.
Yeah. And like I said, it's going to be some high emotions going on this week, next week, and all through it. But here's the deal: if we do not direct our intelligence in the right way and get out of our emotions, we're going to stay stuck in this loop. We're stuck in a loop. And it keeps happening over and over. And people keep saying, why does it keep getting worse and worse? Because nobody wants to stand up and say no and stop it. Like I said, I put the USA Redemption Party in place for a reason. And if you out there want to run for office or support the Redemption Party because you're tired of the Republicans and the Democrats, check out usaredemptionparty.com.
Mr. Minky?
Yeah, well, I mean, just trying to compare both them cases today and seeing the difference on the outcomes of them. I'm not going to say who's right and wrong, but it's pretty obvious that when you can watch a video and see the end result of something like that, you got to educate. You got to wake yourself up. You got to educate yourself, and you got to start saying something about this because silence is consent.
Yes.
And if you don't say nothing about it, and don't be scared. Don't be scared to say something about it.
Right.
Be bold and stand up for what is right. And that's all I can say is, it was many years ago, 13 years ago now, that I went about my life, and because something happened medically to my disabled daughter, it woke me up, and I just can't. I can't say it enough. I let society down by being silent, by not saying something, because I wasn't educated enough. And now I'm going to brag. I'm a little more educated than I was, and I'm not happy about it.
Well, you're right, Mr. Binky. Silence does mean approval, but you're speaking out right now, and I love that you're a host on this show, and your voice is being heard not only in the United States, but across the country and other countries. So we just got to keep trying to educate our people so that they can understand a closed mouth can't get fed. And if you don't speak out, that means you go along with the program. Guys, thanks for being on the show. We'll be reaching out for you. Y'all have a good one, and we'll be talking soon. Thanks, Mr. Binky. Dr. Jack. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to the show. To the black community, we need to become self-sufficient. We need to have our own society. We don't need to have everybody in our community getting rich off of us and not giving nothing back and killing our kids like what we saw in South Carolina. The justice system is corrupt. Mr. Elder, I hope you watched this show because we showed you just how corrupt it is. Black men be going into the prisons at a rate 5 to 1. Any black man that goes to court today, 90% of them get charged. And that's what I was telling you. You want to pontificate about saying that 9 out of 10 men going to prison. 9 out of 10 men is being charged and catch a felony in the court system. And that's why I say the court system is corrupt. Donald Trump found out how corrupt it was. He was treated like a black man with 4 felonies. And they came after him. Had it not been for the Supreme Court and the money that he put up to fight the system, they would have tried to lock him up. So to the black community, this is a wake-up call for us. We can't keep on dependent on either one of these parties. We have to start finding ways to create our own economics. We spend more money than everybody else put together in this country, and yet we own nothing. Because of the lack of knowledge, our people are perishing. And because of the pastors across this country who refuse to do the work and to exude their authority that Christ gave them, is why the black community is in shambles. Because we, the true men of God and Christians across this country, should be standing up for righteousness. Matthew 6 says, first seek ye the kingdom First seek ye the kingdom. First seek ye the kingdom and its righteousness, and all will be added to you. I'm asking pastors, let us stand up for righteousness. Let us call out the evil we see. Corinthians 5 said, I brought you out the darkness into the marvelous light. And that we're supposed to shine our light on darkness so truth and righteousness can appear. It's our responsibility. It's time for the Black community to unify, even with our brothers and sisters. You might be afraid to lose your job to stand up for righteousness. But my message to you is this. What does it do for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? God bless you. Y'all have a good evening.